Hello and welcome. In this beginner's tutorial, I'll show you how to use Zoho AI agents with N8N. Here's the AI agent that I created for Zoho inside of N8N. Now we are going to build one together, but before we do, I just want to show you what this thing is capable of doing. So you can see there's a lot of things that the AI agent can do for me, but the best way to help you understand it is by just to demonstrate it. Create a contact for me for Drew Brockbank. And his email is drew@brockbank-consulting.com, and make a task for me to reach out to Drew to see if he'd like to schedule a meeting regarding a Zoho implementation. Also create an event for us next week for 9 a.m. Next Tuesday. Okay, so a lot of requests there. The AI agent, let's see if it can handle it. So I'm going to go over to executions. And you're going to notice that we have an execution running, right? So the AI agent is working on the request that I sent over to it. And we just got a response back. All your requests have been completed. One, Drew Brockbank is the contact has been created. A task has been created. An event has been created. Okay. So let's verify that these things were done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this AI agent. Again, we're going to go over the interface in more depth. I figured it'd be more helpful to give you a demo first, to help you understand what this is capable of doing before we slow down and I show you how to actually do it. So with that, I'm going to go over logs, and we're going to see in Zoho CRM, we have the ID for the contact that it said it created. So let's see if it actually did it. So now I'm inside of my CRM. I'm going to go over to the URL, and I'm just going to hit the ID into the top there in the URL. And we can see here that Drew@brockbank-consulting.com indeed was created. So it did a great job at creating the contact. Let's see if it created the task. So I'm going to refresh here, and we're going to see if a task was created for me. And we can see a task was created. It was assigned to me. It's in an open status. We can just read through it. Drew created contact for Drew Brockbank. Drew created task. And then Drew will schedule an event. Okay. So there's some things that I would change here, but it did a really good job out of the task for me. And by reading this, I'd know, hey, look, like I need to reach out to see if Drew would want to schedule an implementation. You can see here I've also integrated with Click. So I can use Click to ask questions about things as well. And then also here's the meeting event too. But I'm not going to show you my calendar. I'll just show you evidence that it actually did create this thing through Google Calendar. You can see the output. It actually created the meeting with Drew Brockbank regarding Zoho implementation. It did it. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to ask it a question. What were the last 5 demo deals that I won? And the thing I want to show you is not only can this perform actions on my behalf, like creating records, but it can also grab information and then summarize it for me. So I don't have to go fishing around inside of Zoho CRM for info. You can just pull it to me based on a request/a chat. So we're going to give this a couple more seconds to load up. Here you see last 5 demo deals that you have won: Stryker, Walt Disney, American Electric, Gap, PPG. That's the information. It grabbed it from my system. You can see it also added to Telegram. I just like Telegram because I like to be able to send a request to my AI agent via voice note. So those are a couple of things that my Zoho AI agent can do. N8N is a tool that helps you build AI agents, and AI agents can do things for you like create records and search for information. So we're going to build one together, but I just wanted to give you the very short and concise explanation of N8N. It's a tool that helps you build AI agents and automations. Now, why use this versus something like Zapier or Zoho Flow? Well, Zoho Flow and Zapier, although they're similar and they're really robust, they're just there to create automations and integrations. An AI agent can do lots of different things. For example, it can take a request and it can break it down into many steps. You can see this log. It can break down a request and then perform multiple automations on your behalf. Okay, I'm going to take a step back. This is the best way I like to think of AI agents. In the same way that you can go over to a real estate agent and say, you know what, I want a home that's by the lake. I want it in nature. I want this, and you can kind of rattle off requirements. You don't actually know how to find that home. You don't have access to the MLS or whatever system they're using to find the homes. You don't have access to those things, but the agent does. So what they're supposed to do, a real estate agent, is take your request, then go find a home that matches, because you give it a fuzzy request, they give you an exact home to go tour and look at. Okay. So in the same way that a real estate agent does that, an AI agent takes a request that you give it, it reads between the lines, finds the automations that need to be triggered, triggers the automations, and then tells you it got the job done, and it can trigger multiple automations, which is really cool. So with that, I just wanted to give you a quick understanding of what AI agents are capable of. N8N, I like this platform. It's very robust. And with that, let's go over the user interface. So go ahead and start a free trial of N8N. If you haven't already, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can start it. And what I want to get across with the N8N interface is it can seem a little overwhelming, but I'm going to break it down for you. So first and foremost, you've got this left-hand sidebar, okay? And this is just what helps you to jump to different sections of the N8N platform. So first you got this plus, and you got workflows. This is where you can create automations, integrations, and AI agents. You can either put it in your personal folder or my project. Think about it this way. N8N is expecting that you might just build this for things you want in your personal life, which you certainly can. Or let's say you're building it for clients, then you can use my project. And then you can have multiple projects that you associate your different workflows, automations, agents, integrations to. Then you've got credentials. Now, credentials are simply the login, so username and password that you use for certain applications. So for example, if I go to Agent Prime, you can see I've logged in, if you will, to Google Calendar, Zoho. I have a Zoho projects one. This one's a little different. Supabase, Gmail, and those tools require a login, right? And so that is what credentials are, is it's essentially your login. So you got to log in, and then once you log in one time, it does the authentication. Authentication is just a system saying you're good to access our application once you add your credentials, okay? So credentials just allow you to access multiple systems. Let's go to an overview here. Overview just gives you a quick set of key performance indicators. Or in other words, it tells you how things are going. Production executions, how many have happened in the last 7 days, some quick stats that you can look at to give you an overview of what's happened inside of your N8N instance, and shows you the different agents or workflows that you've created. Let's go over to personal here. So again, you've got home, which is just the overview, and then personal, these are the ones that you've created just for yourself. And then you can see it's broken down by workflows, credentials, and then executions. So executions is just saying, hey, this workflow you built, this is how many times it's triggered. To make this more real for you, I'm going to go into my Agent Prime here. I'm going to show you executions right here. So here's executions. You can see these are all the times that my workflow / AI agent has triggered and done something. Okay, so I can go through this and I can see different times that an execution has occurred. So there you go. I'm going to jump back over to personal. We got workflows, credentials, executions, and then we actually have the workflows that I've created. I can click into these and then it will help me access. You can see not much going on here with this sad AI agent. That was me in early test trying to figure this thing out. Okay, so if I go over to shared with you, I can see AI agent that people sent to me so that I could potentially look through them and have access to them. So those are workflows and credentials that are shared with me by other people who are on the N8N platform. Here's my project. And this is just what allows me to create workflows that I want to access that are not personal. And that is my project. You can see it has credentials, executions, and then project settings. And then project settings allows me to do some additional configuration there. But even though there's a million things you can click here, I promise you end up clicking like 5 things here before you get into the builder. But I'm going to go through all of it because I think it's going to be helpful for you. So admin panel, this is what allows you to administer your account. So if you wanted to add multiple users, other things you want to manage your plan, things like that, you can manage that stuff. So I'm going to go to open instance. This will take me back into the interface we were just in. And then I'm going to finish off this sidebar, and then we'll get into the agent builder / workflow builder. Okay, I use agent workflow interchangeably. Technically, it's a workflow and there's an agent within a workflow, but you get the idea. Okay, so admin panel. Now we've got templates. There's lots of templates here. I find that most templates, while it's like plug and play, it's plug and then debug for 10 hours and then play. So I like templates to give me inspiration, but very rarely am I able to take someone's template and then just like immediately rework it. But it really depends because a lot of people aren't using the Zoho platform, things like that. There's variables that you can add here. Variables can be used to store and access data across workflows. So that's interesting. Got insights here. These are just stats on what's happening in your system. You have this question mark. You can go to quick start documentation forum, course, report a bug about N8N. These are just helpful resources to help you actually use the tool. We've been busy. These are different versions that have been released 6 hours ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So it will just give you an update on what's going on. Then you can click on settings here. So you can go through personal, users, N8N API, external environment, single sign-on, LDAP, and then log streaming, a bunch of options there. And then I have sign out. Okay, so with that, now that we've gone over some of the more mundane housekeeping items, let's jump into the agent builder and check this thing out. So this is the agent builder interface. You know what? It'd actually be better if I just back out here and we just create a workflow together from scratch. I'm gonna go to create workflow, just press on that button at the top right. And you can see the sidebar is the exact same, right? So that has not changed much, but I can expand it, which is cool. But I'm gonna leave it collapsed. And I'll just go from top left to bottom right here. So at the top left, we have my project. And my project, if you remember, if I click there, I jump back into the project where I can see all my different workflows. If I click into Agent Prime, I'm back in the workflow interface. So it's within, you can kind of imagine like a folder structure. Within my project, I'm in the Agent Prime here. And it says agent here. Why? Because I've got an agent node. And a node is just a thing that you put on a workflow to do something for you, okay? It's very, very simple. It's just a block, you drag and drop it, and you can start to use it. So here we've got the editor, and you can flip between two things. You've got editor, which is like basically saying to you, hey, edit me, edit the workflow, edit what I do. And then you have executions, which is, hey, this is what I've done. Okay, these are the things that I've done for you. Look through and check out what I did. So normally I'm in the editor. And I use executions when I just want to reference, hey, what's going on here? What's been done? Then I have active. This shows you if your workflow is actually going to trigger or not in a live environment. Or in other words, is it on or is it off? You got share. So if you want to send it to somebody else, you can share your project and you can do that. It shows you it should auto save. If you change something, you'll notice it says save there, or I can hit Command Z, go back, and I can hit save, and it will show that it's saved. This is really cool. You can go through workflow history. So if you've made major edits to your workflow / agent, you can go here and see those different versions, and then you can re-enable them, which is really cool. Restore this version, clone, open version, download. So really cool that you can do that. I love that feature. Sometimes I work from multiple devices, and then I'll accidentally save on one device an older version, and I have to go back and do that. It's a whole thing. So in other words, it's just really convenient to be able to do that. So if I click on these 3 dots at the top right, what this allows me to do is duplicate, download, rename, import from URL. So I can import something onto this canvas, and then import from file. And then I've got some settings here that I can configure for the workflow, which is nice. And then archive, which is essentially delete, but just put it away. I'm not going to use it for now. Okay, now we've entered the actual canvas, right? So everything below that line roughly is the canvas. This is where we actually build the workflow. This is where we actually build the agent. So we got this plus, and this plus allows you to add AI components or AI nodes, I should call them. Noding instead of coding. We want to have you avoid coding as much as we can. I'd say some code is helpful, but it's definitely not required in order to make these things work. Okay, so what can we do with AI nodes? Well, AI nodes allow you to use autonomous AI agents to do things like this AI agent generates an action plan and executes it. Super, super useful. When it says generates an action plan and executes it, it's essentially saying, hey, when you tell me to do something, I'm going to give you an example here. When you tell me to do something, like here in this example, you asked me what are the last 5 deals. That's a bad one. I'm going to show you this one. This one's an even better example. You asked me to create a contact. create a task, and to schedule a meeting. Because you told me to do 3 things, I created this action plan. In this action plan, I went through your database. I then triggered another workflow rule to add the task. I triggered an action to create a Zoho CRM contact. Then I went in your calendar and created a calendar for you. So it created this action plan based on the request. Okay. So that is what's useful there about the AI agent. Generates an action plan based on a request, or you don't even have to request it. You can have a proactive agent, which we'll talk about, and executes it. Can use external tools. That's what's so beautiful. This is what makes N8N shine, is the AI agent, the jewel of N8N. Next thing here, OpenAI, message or assist GPT. You understand OpenAI. You've used ChatGPT. You know this. Analyze images, generate audio, things like that. Really cool. Basic LLM chain, a simple chain to prompt a large language model. I'm not going to go into all these, the big ones, the AI agent, but these are also useful. Okay. Then you've got actions and apps. So there's already pre-built integrations with all these different tools. You can see there's so many here. Zoho is one of them. Except it's limited to Zoho CRM. I use Zoho 1. That's 46 plus apps offered by Zoho in a single bundle. So I run my whole business on Zoho. So I use the CRM a lot, but I use a lot of the other apps. Those aren't added quite yet, but that's okay. I just tap into the API. API, for those of you who are not tech savvy, is just an application's way of saying, hey, if you want to trigger an action inside of our app, these are the list of actions that are available to you. So it's just, hey, if you want to talk to me, this is how you can talk to me. So those are actions in apps. They're pre-built. It just allows you to not have to go through the API. I'm not saying this. I'm saying some people say this. Authentication is a bitch. That's what people say when you're doing development and you're trying to log into another system via code or via an automation. You have to do what's called authentication. And these pre-built connectors allow you to skip authentication because you just have to log in and you're authenticated. Okay. So data transformation, these are things you can do to take data and then transform it. You can run code, date and time manipulations, edit fields, lots of different things there you can check out. And then flow, this just changes how the workflow is going to behave. You can see I've added a switch flow there. Here's core. These are other things that you can do to configure your workflow. Human in the loop. I think this is really important. So human in the loop is basically saying this, hey, before the AI does something, do you want it to check in with you and say, hey, this is what I'm planning on doing? And then you can confirm it. So I use Gmail as an example. I have a AI agent that will take a YouTube video and turn it into a LinkedIn post, a Zoho marketing automation campaign, and a blog post. But before it does that, I have it confirm with me via Gmail. It says Drew to approve. And it says, this is what we wrote out. This is what we took from the transcript and what we're creating for you. Do you want to approve it? And then I just hit approve, and then it can create it. So we know that the future of AI agents is going to be AI agents doing a lot of the work, and then we're doing a lot of the quality control and approval and overseeing of those agents in their work. So this is how it will actually, this is one way to actually do that, human in the loop. Okay, add another trigger. These are just things that you can do. We're actually going to create an agent here together. And I'm going to show you a little more about this. But finishing the tour here of the interface, then you've got the canvas. The canvas is where you can navigate around, and you can, I have a trackpad so I can kind of move around like this. And you can see here that I can click on this area to move to different sections of the canvas. And that is very, very useful. Then I've got some of these options here. So I have this is zoom to fit. I can also hit 1 on my keyboard, or I can click here. So 1, or I can click, and it will take me back to fit all the things that I put on the canvas in one view. Then I have zoom in. I can either hit plus or minus to zoom in and out, or I can click zoom in, zoom out, or since I have a trackpad, I can zoom in and out with my fingers, and I can hit reset zoom to take me to the ground level. And then I can also go to tidy up. And what this will do, which is cool, you'll notice these two nodes will come over here. So essentially, if I mess everything up and make it super crazy, I can hit tidy up, and then it will become organized or more organized. So that's what's useful about that. And then I can drag over items and move them so that I can manipulate the workflow or configure the workflow the way that I want. So I'll save that. And then here we're going to go over to test workflow. I have test data right here. I have test data for my Zoho click trigger. So if I hit test workflow, it will trigger the workflow, which is interesting. So you'll see there, it just triggered the workflow. I don't want it to run through right now, but you can see that test workflow will start the workflow and it will start to execute, okay? Which is great, very useful for testing. And with that, we're gonna go build an AI agent together from scratch. So I'm gonna go over to plus workflow, my project, and here's an empty workflow. So now that you know the basics, let's build this thing together. So first, I'm going to lay down the AI agent, and actually, let's start with the chat. So this is how we're going to initially interact with the AI agent. So I'm going to grab AI agent here. I'm going to move kind of fast. So if you need to slow things down, feel free to do that. It's not a problem. If these things are new to you, which it most likely is, that's completely fine. I'm going to break these things down and try to explain it as simply as possible so you have a really deep understanding of how these things work. Okay, so open chat. In the same way, I can go over to Click and I can chat with this thing. And I can also go to Telegram and chat with this thing and use a voice memo. You can actually, just to make things quicker for testing, you can add this when chat received, okay? And I can say hi. And then because the AI agent can't do anything, it says error, chat model subnode must be connected, okay? So can't do anything yet. I'm gonna go over here to chat model. And the AI agent has a couple parts that are important to understand. So one is chat model, and chat model is just saying, hey, are you gonna use DeepSeek, ChatGPT? You've seen all those polls. Which one's your favorite? We're gonna use OpenAI chat model here, and we're gonna go over to 4o Mini, but I wanna show you the list here. There's a lot of different models you have access to. Keep in mind, you do have to pay in order to play around with OpenAI on their different models here. And keep in mind, you need, 4.1 is the model for AI agents. It's built specifically with AI agents in mind, but it's overkill for what we're doing. So we're just gonna use 4o Mini. So we'll just find 4o. That'll be fine for now. We could find whichever one you want here that's available. You can certainly select that and use it. But here we go. We've got the model. Now we're going to deal with memory. So I'm just going to give you an example of what we're able to do now. So I can say hi. I can say hi now again. Hello, how can I assist you today? So now what we've essentially built is using ChatGPT in its own interface. Okay, so I can say, what is the latest news on the economy? And ChatGPT can look for it and send it to me. I'm unable to provide real-time updates for the major outlets such as the wall, blah, 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 blah. Funny. Okay, so whatever. You can ask it questions. You can have it do math. What's 5 plus 5? And it will give you answers. So it's like you're interacting with ChatGPT, right? But here's the thing. If I say I have a contact, Drew, I want you to remember the contact Drew Brockbank. His email is drewbrockbank@gmail.com. So if I say this, sorry, but I can't store personal information. You'll see that'll change in a second. What is Drew's email? Can't remember. Okay, it can't remember. It said it couldn't store it. I'm going to show you why. It doesn't have memory, so it has goldfish memory. So oftentimes if people set up an AI agent without memory, they'll say something like, create a draft email for this, for Drew Brockbank. I'm going to create a draft email for Drew Brockbank saying, would you like to schedule a meeting? And then send me the draft for approval. The AI agent will send it for approval. And then they'll say, send it. And they'll say, send what? And then you'll say, send the email you just created. And it's like, what email did I just create? Because it doesn't have memory. So you got to make sure it has memory. You can use simple memory. This is for beginners. Or if you want something more advanced, you can go with Postgres chat memory. This is what I use for mine. And then I use Supabase as my Postgres SQL database. We're going to use simple memory just because this is a beginner's tutorial. Context windows, how many past interactions do you want to look into? So think about it this way if you can. In your mind's eye, you've got a spreadsheet and there's a row added every time there's an interaction, okay? When I say interaction, this is an interaction, this is an interaction, and this is an interaction. So imagine a spreadsheet every time something is said by either the human, me, or the agent, this, then it will add a new row. And the memory is saying, do you want me to look at 5 rows of data, 1 row of data? How many do you want me to read through before I give my response? So it's just context. It's helpful to have context and memory when you're having a discussion with somebody, right? Especially with an AI agent. It'll drive you nuts if you don't have memory. So you got to have memory. Tool is basically the AI agent saying, hey, I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to have memory of what we're talking about, but what do you want me to actually do for you? And the tool here, it's pretty much your imagination is the limit for what you can really do here for the tool. Okay, so what we're going to do here, because this is for Zoho, we're going to go to Zoho CRM tool, and you can see there's a bunch of things we can do. So first, when you do this, I've added my credential. You have to go to create credential, and you have to go through this process in order to connect your account. Okay, so once you connect your account, you're going to be able to follow along with me if you want to follow along, or maybe you're just along for the ride, which is fine as well. So we got tool description set automatically. No, tool description, that's not what we want to do. Okay, I'm going to explain to you how this works. So I'm going to set this manual and say, call this tool or use this tool when you want, to create a contact in Zoho. Oh, we'll just say create a contact. That's totally fine for now. Then we'll go over to contact. This is the resource. You can think about it in Zoho CRM if you're familiar, is like the record type or the module, if you want to get more specific. So we'll do contact here and then operation create, creator, update, delete. We're going to do create here. And then we're going to let the model define this one. So this is saying last name. Do you want it to be Drew? Well, if I put Drew, it's going to be fixed here. And it's going to create a contact for Drew every time I ask it to do something. We don't want to do that. We want the model to decide. The model is smart. Let's test it and see if it can do what we need it to do. Let's have the model define this one. Let's have the model do last name. Is this one last name? Let's have the model do first name. And here we go. Model gets to define it. You can add more fields if you want to. We're going to stick with this for now. And you can see that we have the 3 major components here, which is perfect. Now, later on, if we wanted to pass a request here, so the final output to something else, we could certainly do that. Or maybe we wanted to continue the workflow, we could do that as well. But we're going to keep it really simple here. I know this can be really overwhelming if you're a beginner. Trust me, you can figure it out. I figured it out. Many other people who are not techie can figure it out. You can figure it out too, I promise. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to test this. And I'm going to say, create a contact for demo Debbie example. Her email is demodebbie@gmail.com. And we're going to let this thing run. And it said the contact has been created. We'll prove it. Let's go over to Zoho CRM. Let's find the ID. And let's go to the CRM and hit the ID into the end of the URL there. And demo Debbie was created. So good job. That's what we want to see. I'm going to delete this. I don't want to muddy up my system with all these demo records that I do for you guys to teach you. Let's go to the next thing here, which is another tool. And the reason I want to show you another tool is what makes something agentic is it can look through multiple options and then choose the right one. In the same way, your real estate agent, if you're in the market, you say, hey, look, this is the kind of home. They can say, hey, I take your vague requests and then I find the homes that fit them. And I'm going to choose the right home for your request. Even if you give it a fuzzy or vague request, right? It can read between the lines, make an action plan and do it for you. So what I'm going to show you now is how this tool will read through how the AI agent will read through 2 different tools and decide which one to use. So we connected another Zoho node here, and I'm connected. I got my credentials here, and we're going to set this description. And this is where this is going to start to make a little more sense as to how the AI agent works. So let's do a lead here. And we'll say, actually, we're going to do a GET request. So we're not going to do a create. We're going to do a contact, and we're going to do a GET. Instead of creating information, it's going to grab information for us. And then it says contact ID. We're going to let it define by the model. And we're going to say use this tool to get information regarding about a contact. And then I'm going to step out of here, hit save. And now what's going to happen is we're going to take the ID that was created here and say, find the contact information for this contact. And then do you see what happened here? It understood the request, the AI agent, it took the request, it used the model to interpret natural language, and then it stored a row of information for the interaction. So now it can see 5 different interactions, right? Added this one as an interaction. And then it also looked through the tools. And what it did is it read the description. It says, use this tool to create a contact. Well, it said create a contact. And the human said, now I'm speaking as the AI agent, just to give you an understanding. Find the contact information for ID. Well, it said find contact information, not create. And because it knows the difference, because it's using a large language model to understand the difference in language, it said, let me read the other one. This one said, use the tool to get information about a contact. Hey, this fits. Use the tool to get information. I said, find the contact. And it knows that's similar enough. So it only triggered this one. It didn't trigger both. But you can, like you saw if you watched the beginning of this video, it can perform multiple actions for multiple requests as well. So we just built a Zoho agent together that can create contacts and it can get contact information as well. And you can see that it can grab that information. It says null because unfortunately Debbie is gone. But if I use this example demo contact here, we can just use this one. And we can say, get the information for this contact. And it will grab the example data here. We'll finish. Example demo, example, here we go, right? I deleted Debbie, I didn't delete this demo, so it can actually see the data now. So with that, that is how the AI agent works. We just built an AI agent together for Zoho.